one of those nights. It's about 11:20 here. I'm sort of bored. I've been doing some transitional logos, and I was just going to show you guys some of the stuff, just to get an idea. See if you like them. So I've done 7 the different types of, different effects and stuff like that. So I've numbered them 1 to 7, and I'm just going to show you them, and I'd just like a bit of feedback, what you guys think. Just give me a number, which one you like the best, and which one you hate. Something along those lines. So let me go back to I'll stop sharing that for a moment, and because I didn't use audio, shit happens. Okay, let's share this with fucking audio. Okay, now that's that again. See, we've got that. Now we will play each one. We'll go with the first one. Abstract asteroid field titles. Oops. Let's just start that from the beginning. Is the audio coming across? Can you guys hear it? Just anyone say yes or no. If you can hear the audio. Anyone? Can you hear the audio, guys? Good. Yes, audio. Good. Key. Next one. So that was number 2. And the black hole, which is number 3. Just can't get the color right with the actual rendering for some reason, the black. So I used the gray because I tried a different blacks, and it sort of just made it impossible for the ball to be seen properly. So I've gone for this sort of gray box. I couldn't do anything better. I may have to play around and try again. Key. So this is number 4. It's quick and dirty. And yeah, nothing like a bit of a cartoony one to follow right after that. You know me and my humour, or my sick humour. There you go. It's one of those corny commercial type thing. I couldn't help myself. You got to have a corny one there somewhere. It's just sort of requirement. This is the next one. That's a quick transition. I don't mind that one. That's a sort of one of those like a surreal type. It's like an electrical. I actually saw something similar to that at the Mona Museum. They had some sort of really weird, like an electrical thing, storm type thing. So, along those lines, as you can see, I've been dealing with boredom, creating logos and transition shit and sort of new title things and stuff like that. I have to say that I do like the black hole one. Yes. I just wish I could get the colours of the box better. Yes. Anyway, been struggling with the colour on that. I did it multiple times and tried to change the hues on that, and just nothing would bloody work. That was one I rendered so many fucking times I gave up, and then I just went for a standard box because it just blurred so badly. So as long as it's sitting in a sort of a box, it's sort of half decent, half reasonable. Yeah. That's what I definitely need to do. Yeah. I was using my other computer over there, so I need to basically redo it on this computer because I've actually got Photoshop on this, and I can actually do a transparency background and then insert that. So this is I'm just playing around. That's all I'm doing at the moment. Just fucking around and seeing what really works and what looks good and all that, and just getting a bit of feedback from you guys, and then I'll actually put a bit more effort into actually, if you guys sort of like some of them and give me a bit of feedback, I would appreciate it. And just give me which one you consider number one, or give me the best three that you guys consider, just something like that. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, I have to say I do like the actual black hole one, and I think Uncle Alf with his transparency is right. I need to do it on this one here, the logo, and sort out and create a transparency, and then load it up and see whether I can actually sort that. I'm not sure whether the rendering application will handle the transparency background or blur it. So yeah, I'm still playing around with the software. So I'm a bit clueless in that regard. So I still will see how it all goes. So I may be able to get it to work a bit better. But yes, it's having a bit of fun. Just I had a haircut. Have you seen? Yes. Sort of pretty short on top. My barber said, "Bloody hell, this is thick." So he had a bit of a. At least I got my money's worth in that regard. So yes, it had to go. I was getting sick and fucking tired of it. It was just getting too long, too hard to handle, and it just took so long in the morning to wash and. So yeah, became a bit of a hassle. Now it's much easier. I look respectable for a 54-year-old. Well, within reason, it's impossible to achieve miracles in my case, so as many would say. Yes, I thought the black hole would be a good one. I think if I can get the what Uncle Alf said with the transparency. If I can get this software to render it properly, then thanks, mate. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, now that exactly the hair's out of the way, and you can actually get a good head as an image. Yes, yes. I understand. I don't know. I'll even I'll sacrifice a bit of blue light, and sort of give you a good. I hope you're getting a good image there, so you're getting a good snapshot. Tell me you're getting a good snapshot. Hope that's worked for you. Get the spitter up here. A solar eclipse. Yes, that could work actually. I'll see if I can get a good image of a solar transitional eclipse, and then I'll try that as well. Yeah, something to think about. Exactly. Yes, I did. Honest. Yeah, had to happen. It's getting too bloody long. You know what a hassle it is. I really feel for you chicks. I mean, I actually, even with Mira, I sort of prefer her hair to be longer. Um, yeah, but you know, it takes a while. I know, to sort of get it ready and get it sorted and. Yeah, I did. I did. Mm. Yes, I noticed one of your comments. You've been experimenting with niacin, my dear, getting those flushes. Mm. Yes, an issue of wanting to get a bit more longevity, and I suspect a bit of vanity, like me. Yes, I would say so. Very much. Now and you were only doing 50 milligrams. Now you know what 250 milligrams are like. That is fun. Ooh, real fun. Hi, Bo. Good to see you. Also, Ritzig. I used to have long hair. Sleeping was a nightmare. You basically had to cut it to get rid of your energy so you could actually sleep. I suspect, the Samson sort of theory. Yep, I can subscribe to that. Nah, it's just an impromptu. I was just bored. It's about 11:30. I'm not staying on for too long, so this is a very snapshot. Come on, show a bit of the new stuff that I'm playing around with at the moment. Yes, never get the nice one, I suspect. Yes, yes, it could be a rude awakening. Yes, it could have one of those. That really gives me the tingles. Yes, there's nothing like a bit of tingle here and there. Yes, I like a tingle now and then, but niacin can really give you a tingle. Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. It's good to get a few people that are looking into the stuff. Yeah, look, sometimes I, do things. I just called my sister earlier, my younger sister. She had a bit of good news. That's sort of looking after her a bit better at her new workplace, and to sort of recognise her ability. She's a really go getter. She's a real, um, she's a tough and smart cookie. So it's about time they bloody recognised her and giving her a bit of an opportunity to rise in the organisation, which is good. So I'm quite happy. We had a bit of a chat. So she's doing good. She's missing the cat. She's wondering how Dad feels about giving up the cat. So yeah, the cat politics between my sister and Dad. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see. She's trying to see whether she can get down here. So it'll be good if she can fly over from Perth. But don't know yet. So I have missed her a bit. So yeah, I know. God, yes. Most of my both my partner and my closest mate think I'm crazy that I do nice and flushes. Yep, they pretty much think I'm certifiable. So yeah, it's fun. I can tell you. Yeah, did you get that message that I actually left? Have a cold bath, get in, just lying there. It's staying there for half an hour. It sort of helps. Yes, yes, exactly. Don't forget to hit the like button. Damn, I'm giving you, all these transitional stuff, the sort of, to enjoy. Uh, exactly. We'll replay the actual. Yeah, well, which one? Yeah. Hold on. I've got share. What am I doing? Nah, I haven't done it right. Oh, damn. Always forget to do the audio. Add audio. That's it. Silly boy. And let's get the favorite, the black hole. Yes, I think with the transparency there, it will definitely be good. So once I get the sort of transparency, I think it'll really look good as a sort of an intro to my live streams or an intro to a number of things. So so in that regard, I don't know whether I'm going to use it for my live streams. I may look. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to play around with that, but yeah. Got sick and tired of washing it. It was too bloody long. So the hairs were that long. Okay. Even the guy that actually cut my hair, he actually said, "Fuck me, this is Now, as you can see, it's quite short. It's only this tiny bit here on the sides. It's number 2. So yes, I took a bit off. Mira's happy. She was glad to see me remove all that hair. She prefers short hair, and doesn't like me growing a beard either. Yeah, I used to have a bit of a moe, and she doesn't like beard. She doesn't like long hair. So yeah. So basically, I don't give a shit about you guys. I just need to satisfy her, keep her happy. So that's the most important thing, Ian. Not the rest of the world. Because you guys don't come here for the haircut. For my haircut, you come here for the information. And if you're coming here for the haircut, you're coming here for the wrong reason. That's all I can say. Yes. Live long and prosper. Yes, couldn't help myself. I had to do that. The tricky thing. Yeah. I know. When I'm shaving and I've got a haircut, I do look younger. When I've got a beard and I've got a lot of long hair, I look very scruffy and yeah. That's why Mira was complaining continuously, going, "Get your fucking hair cut." So she was being a bit annoyed. Yeah, look, I've given up on that. She doesn't like that either. So whiskers, they interfere. I won't go into any more details on that. Bart knows what I mean. Yeah. So, but he's not here. But his money machine is. No, I'm still. YouTube doesn't like me. I'm still a little meano for YouTube. Yes, priorities, exactly. Yeah, look, I know. God, I, I actually prefer longer hair, but um, I need to satisfy other people as well. You know what I mean? So yes, I've sort of done the longer hair and even the moe, and actually had a really one of those. You know, I've even got actually an actual toolkit to shave around. You know, to the right and all that, to trim a trimmer and everything. But I haven't used it for years. It's just in one of my drawers, and it'll probably stay in one of my drawers for a very long time. So yes. Anyway, my dear Mira doesn't like those things. Too much hair, body hair. So yes, unfortunately, I'm required to minimize the body hair. Yes, I need to be much smarter looking. Yes, yes. One of these days, I'll have to put one of my shirts, one of my suits on. I've actually got one of those black suits which have got the the sort of lines that lawyers wear. Yes, I look the part in that regard. Yes. Look, I mean, I've got the proof. You've seen it, thick hair and all that. So it's not as if I need to prove anything. Um, I've demonstrated that if you eat appropriately and get good nutrition and support your thyroid, support your general health, you're going to have long, strong hair. So it's just not an issue. I think people it's deficiencies. I mean, you get it in a mixed diet. It has nothing to do, these like the Ray Peats and all that talk about carbohydrates required. Well, these poor fucks that are on a sad diet are consuming 70% carbohydrates, and they still lose their hair. And the vegans, God, they do 100% and they still lose their hair. It drops out. It has nothing to do with carbohydrates. It has to do, what is hair made of? It's made of protein. What's protein made of? Sorry, of collagen. What's collagen made of? It's protein. So, and what do you basically need to support your thyroid? And what do you, iodine, which is in seafood, eggs, organ meats, the sort of foods we eat. What is the other thing you need to convert T4 to T3? Zinc, selenium. What's that in? Meat, eggs, liver, seafood. I mean, we've got the package down, with when it comes to the micronutrients that are required to support hair growth. Biotin, where's biotin? Liver, organ meats, eggs in particular, things like that. So we eat all the foods that actually provide the sort of health, long nails, thick long nails and stuff like that, healthy nails, and that's what you want. But you get enough biotin, you're going to have healthy nails. So I mean, I do it for other reasons, obviously for the choline that I need, but that's what you need to do. But people, unfortunately, don't eat the appropriately, and that's why they get into trouble and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, good to see you, mate. Yeah, I was showing the different logos and shit that I was actually coming up with and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, oh, you also, yeah, exactly. Great minds. I'll accept that. Oh, see, I tell you guys, the ladies like the clean cut, sort of thing. When I used to go out, when I was a youngster, I used to wear a suit sometimes, clean cut suit, sunnies and stuff like that. The women love that. Believe me. You guys wonder why basically women don't give you a second look. Well, you need to impress. You need to come across confident. You need to come across, with a bit of, spunk and a bit of movement and all that. Turn heads. Yes, I'm not making any connections, am I? Unfortunately. Yes. But I suspect Ian likes the rough ones. Don't you, Ian? Yes. They usually like the rebels without a cause. It was only $20, mate. It was only $20. I went to a barber. So yes, it's yeah. The guy's he basically is been here for a couple of years now, but he immigrated from basically Iraq, and he basically lived for a period in Indonesia. So we had a bit of a chat about that as well, and then he comes down here and he bought into a business, and it's called Saigon, haircuts or something like along that line. So the sort of the contradictions of the names and all that, it's sort of really funny in that regard. But he's really, he's a real good, first time, he put actually like a tape thing around my neck, a white tape thing, and then put the actual where the others just, and was really meticulous in cutting, and then using the blower to make sure that all the actual hair was blown away. So I really like the style. Really nice style. First time I've had a haircut. This is with this guy, and he basically, I'm going to go again. One, it was cheaper. I normally pay about $35, so it was cheaper. It was better done. I like the style, and at the same time, I didn't end up with a whole lot of hair all over my face or my neck or whatever. Like when I go elsewhere and I pay more, I'm going, this guy really has class. I'm going to go back there again. So yes, nice fellow. And he's sort of a smaller business and all that. And yep, I want to support him. Yes, obviously, yes. Yes, nothing like a white shirt. Exactly. Just have to be careful when you're eating. Nothing hides. And then really the whole, yes. I've heard hair biological function. Portray health in any truth in this. Oh, well, some people think there is. Look, if people have got multiple generations of hair loss in there, I mean, I've got bad genetics. I've got genetics that basically give me baldness. I mean, you guys have seen it. I've shown you before my genetics on 23andMe. So I'm predisposed to baldness. I'm predisposed to grayness. With all my other genetics, I'm predisposed to that. And all that sort of. It's just I'm just so fucking unlucky. And I can tell you, my hair was much grayer, has been grayer in the past. So it has become less grey over time. And it wasn't only the carnivore diet. It's since I gave up carbohydrates a number of years back, my hair in the last, couple of years is becoming lighter, it's darker. Now, I do still get through summer, and especially now that I end up going outdoors far more for long walks and all that in the sun and all that, I tend to get a bit of photo bleaching, and I can't do anything about it. It's really I've got that as well. I've got damn photo bleaching genetics as well. So when the UV hits my hair, and I usually have much lighter up here compared to and darker around here, and that's basically because of photo bleaching. I mean, I could be worse. Mum literally went really grey from her 30s, her mid-30s. That's 20 years that I've basically been able to keep at a bay. But, I mean, yeah, I just really can't do much about it. I've got genetics fighting me on that front. So I'm just hoping that the good things that I do with my diet, with my carnivore diet, that it sort of slightly silences those genes to some extent, but I don't think it completely can reverse. I've been trying all sorts of different things, and nothing, absolutely nothing I've actually really found to successfully blunt my genetics. I mean, it's much better than it used to be in some regards. I haven't actually got worse in the last couple of years. I've sort of remained static, that's something. I'll take that. That's, when you're fighting genetics, I'll take any friggin' thing in that regard. But what's that? Human hair wig of Harry's quality hair. Yes, I don't think so. I don't think that it's of that good in that regard. Harry, what's your opinion on the hydroponics, vertical farming that some plant-based people promote as an alternative to monocrops? They push over regenerative, very high in energy use. That's the only problem with it. It all sounds good until you actually do the numbers. I've actually looked at vertical farms, and I'm actually interested in them. I've initially, years ago, I was a bit of a supporter of vertical farms and hydroponics and stuff like that. That you could cut the carbon footprint from a farm and all that. But once you do the numbers, the lighting, all the sort of inputs and all that you have to do, you actually realize it's not as, it's compared to monocrops, it probably, in terms of it's not that much difference on a lot of fronts. They make it out as being probably the only advantage would be for people living in cities to be able to have a certain level of food security. If certain calamities happen, like bridges fall, there's a lot of really bad weather and stuff like that. So there's probably some advantages, and certain things could be done that way that require less water. Like herbs and spices and stuff like that could be done in a hydroponic sort of setup. That's doable. And also, sort of even regenerative farming could actually be done in a sense with smaller animals like chickens, geese, things like that. Sort of the bird type, or small piglets could be done within that sort of system as well. So it has potential, but I don't know. There's the different cities more potential than others because land values, real estate value of the land is another big issue in that regard. So it's when you start looking at it, a lot of things just they just don't gel properly on a lot of fronts. Cost, real estate cost, upfront costs. There's a lot of issues in that regard. So it all sounds good, but when you do the numbers, it doesn't really pan out that well. So yeah, but that would be a long conversation. I may have to do some sort of video on that at some point, but it's not a priority. This is more about nutrition and stuff like that. That's a low priority. And as far as I'm concerned, I've made it quite clear with my videos that I've done a methane. The source of methane from animal sources has been declining. Since the 70s, it's been declining. Hasn't been increasing, it's been declining. So all you have to do is go and check that methane video that I did with one of my chats with Bart on Bart K's. And I actually showed the study, which is quite clearly shows a different type of carbon, which comes from petrochemical sources, and a different one that comes, the methane and the different carbon isotope, because when methane actually is destroyed, it gets converted back to a carbon. Now, the carbon that actually gets converted is the type which is similar, the one that the plants normally have. It's part of that cycle. The animals eat the grass. They basically produce methane, and it's primarily from their mouths, and that gets basically recycled back through the system. So it's basically, at the end of the day, it's a carbon neutral system. It has been for millions and millions of years, but that's actually even declining, because we've gone so plant-based. Now 70% of our diet is plant-based. The majority of the carbon that's actually increasing is that being generated by the petrochemical industry. So when you basically do grain agriculture, one, you need petrochemical inputs. They come out of factories, all the modern fertilizers and all that. Where do you think they come? They get petrochemical products. That was all what was part of the Green Revolution. And then you've got, the tractors and all that sort of stuff that you have to use. So combines and whatever else, and they use petrochemical products as well. So grain agriculture is far more emitting of the type that is not, part of the normal carbon cycle. So their argument, they don't have an argument anywhere, but their ideology is basically all about suffering. The only way you can actually eliminate suffering is, they believe in euthanasia. So ultimately what the ultimate final solution, the vegan final solution, is basically a nightmarish world of euthanizing everything to avoid its suffering. It's a kill cult. That's what it is. They cannot accept life and death and the normal cycle of life and death, and the normal that everything in nature and all species go through life and death and suffering. Some happiness, some suffering. It's part of life. Fucking accept it. They can't accept that that reality of life. That's their problem, and it's just because they're so disconnected from nature. You just have to hear what that crazy witch from Chorley says. She goes, ecology is unimportant, environment is unimportant. That's what she actually said, that in a video, and pretty much that's her logic. It's just crazy. It's all about suffering. But their plant-based causes so much suffering to humans. But that's unimportant, because we're a scourge of the planet. We should be genocided, according to some of them, especially the real crazies. That's the madness of this community. It's a kill cult. The Church of Anorexia Vegana is basically a kill cult, organization, and it's a very dangerous one. They've been hijacked and used by forces that want to benefit and profiteer from the misery of humans eating shit, kibble, and then being, for the rest of their life being on some sort of on a bag of medicine. Yes, that's a sort of future they want to. But it's all about those little cute animals not suffering. Fuck the humans; they can suffer as much. Yeah, that's their humanity. Yes, or let's say their bestiality. Exactly. The white tape, yes. The haircut white tape. I do need a bib. Yes, my childish. No, can't help myself. So, Harry, what are your thoughts on supplementing selenium in the short term? Yeah, look, it's okay. Eat a bit more fish. Tuna. Tuna's got plenty. Eggs, liver. Liver's got plenty. Liver's a high source. So is eggs. Eat a bit more eggs, a bit more tuna, A bit more organ meats. Organ meats are very high in selenium. So no excuses, mate. No excuses. Look, you know me. When it comes to there are aminos, I'll supplement. When it comes to other supplements, especially minerals and vitamins, I just sometimes think that they don't for a short term. Yeah, yeah, just don't go too high on selenium as well. Not that, even though I've got a lot of question marks on some of those prior studies, but then again, different people react differently, so keep that in mind. I was shocked. Mate, where are you? You're living under a rock or something. I was showing all my new logos. You'll have to go to the beginning shortly and see all the new logos. Yes, they are all fun logos that I'm playing around with. Yes, making a bit of a mess. If fashion needs that, I won't comply. I've got no option. I've been told, cut your hair. Yes, she told me. So I did. You fucking soft cock, Harry. Exactly. Yes. In peaceful times, Harry becomes a soft cock for the pussy. Yes. Anything to be aware of? Yes, don't take too much. Over 20 milligrams is toxic. So stick to 12 because you get some from food, and you should only be doing that for about a month and then drop down to 9 for the next week after that, then 6 the following week, and then down to 3, and then stay at 3. So it's an initial intervention to sort out prolactin and things like prolactin and sort of estrogen really dominance. So you sort of bring that down. So that's the purpose of it. It can actually reduce prolactin levels very substantially, which is good for hair. High prolactin will create alopecia, loss of hair. And the other thing that also it sort of sorts out your estrogen levels. A lot of women, I sort of recommend it to women who are going through a menopausal state as well, to sort of balance things a bit better on that regard. Yep. Yeah. Look. Yeah. Look. A lot of that. I'm not like my cousins who basically are grey. It's just on my mother's side they tend to be quite grey. A lot of them. All the women basically put some hair stuff, colour through their hair. All the men, especially in Greece, more traditional, they tend to just leave it as it is. My cousin here, who's a medical doctor in New South Wales, he tends to just leave it as it is, because he's had grey hair since his 30s, So in that regard, it's just one of those things. I mean, I only put it down to the carnivore diet, primarily in getting rid of all the crap that's possibly, because I can't put it down to anything else, so I think that it's basically, I don't think it's actually reversed it, but it's basically kept it at a good level. It's actually hasn't got worse, which is one good thing, at least. I'll take that any day, of the week. Yes, hydroponic farming tends to rely on synthetic nutrients, salt as well. Yeah, look, it does. It's a lot of different inputs. that are actually, it's not only energy inputs, it's a number of, they have to mine certain minerals and stuff like that and bring them in. You don't have like in a natural ecosystem where you've got worms to basically transport, that turn the soil and sort of transport. That's why, another reason why monocrops are so piss poor. And another reason why these sort of foods tend to also be a bit more pricier as well. So they're a premium product, but they're all year round. You can actually get them, but that's not a good thing. I think seasonal foods are much, if you're going to use plants in your diet, I prefer it being seasonal because it's then more in sync with nature, with the normal levels of light as well, because you've got, you will have different levels of depletion of deuterium through the year. So the different types of foods are appropriate for all those sort of things. So that's how I see it primarily. So these modern solutions, you can have your cake and eat it any time of the year, Yes. Yes. Yeah, they do use that sort of those sort of sauces. Yep, and that is called aquaculture. Yep. Yes. Harry, what do you say about this? Parasites in pork, beef, goat. I don't think there's a really issue there. If it's pastured, pork can be an issue. It's one reason why I cook pork right through. I've sort of never had it raw. I think if you could get basically a clean pork which was pastured properly and all that from a good source and all that, yep, you could probably have a bit of raw type, especially the fat. But yeah, I just don't trust them. Simple as that. So I do like pork, and I actually prefer pork cooked anyway. I prefer goat, lamb, and pork cooked. Same thing with chicken, but beef I can have basically any form, from raw right through, and even beef as basically fermented, I can eat that as well. So yeah, I'm pretty easy when it comes to beef. I will look. I have had a bit of mutton, which is older lamb, in sort of a fermented form. Yep, that's probably the only. I've never had goat or any of the others. Sort of that regard, and I probably wouldn't. I'm too fucking chicken shit to take the risk with chicken. So yeah, it's those sort of things in that regard. Motor oil on skin. Yes, will give you that nice black lather. Perfect for senescence. Yep. Slap a bit on. See you, mate. It's a bit like me earlier when Bart had his thing. I was fucking in one meeting into another bloody meeting right after, half an hour later. God almighty. But at least tomorrow I've got no meetings, and on Friday I've just got a morning one, which is good. And that's just our sort of section that just has a bit of a chat, a bit of a rundown on the week, and what to look forward to and what to prioritize for the next week. So yes, the normal shit, work shit. Yep. Sonic boom. Yes, sit behind an aircraft and get your insides wiggled around. Look, I've got no science to point to. Simple as that. There is no science, and until they do any science, we've got basically bugger all. You know, we've got, when it comes to blue light, it's quite clear. The science is there. When we go to, things in terms of vitamin D and UVB, UVA early in the morning and later in the afternoon, the importance in terms of with deuterium depletion and also the sort of infrared spectrum and all that, the healthiness to the body. We know that negative ions, by earthing yourself, work. There's good science there, and it's quite clear. We've seen with all different animals that we've experimented, platelet aggregation. So very, very important. And if you look at all the actual, it's probably one reason why all those monks and especially the Buddhist monks and all that, they all walk around barefoot everywhere, which basically they are basically putting negative ions through their body continuously and healing themselves. Nothing to do with the diet. It's all that walking around. That's really positive. So, as I said, while the carnivore diet is an optimal diet, it's more ancestral. The N15 isotope analysis in the 3 million years of bones actually shows quite clearly what our natural foods that were adapted genetically over 3 million years, perfectly adapted. So that's indisputable. As far as, other things, they are also important. It was very recent. It's only in the last, very recent, a blip in history that we've been wearing shoes and a lot of clothing. So we're less exposed to UV to get sufficient vitamin D. We're less exposed to the Earth's magnetosphere sufficiently to get those negative ions. So I would say there's a lot of things that we do wrong. So the diet's not going to save you. It's optimal, but you need to do more if you want longevity, if you want longer life, if you want healthier life. So, so it's really important that we look at these other aspects. It's not, it's diet is the most important, but all the other lifestyle aspects are also very important for health. So yes, tuna is a very good source, and its ratio, if you look at that video that I made on seafood and stuff like that, and it looks at the mercury to selenium ratio and the importance of selenium to chelate mercury and as selenide, and it's a bit of a tongue twister. And, yes, so it's a non-issue, and yellowfin tuna is even better than bluefin tuna in that regard in chelating characteristics. Yes. I have to be humorous with myself. Baffling that would quote studies that say grass-fed beef is bad for the environment. Yeah, look, they're mental cases. They are absolute mental cases. Science is not there. It's quite clear. The atmospheric carbons, your C12 and C13 do not lie. Anybody can do that experiment. You can go out, you can actually sample, send it to a lab and get it, the air checked, and it will come back that there is more C13 and less of the other stuff, which basically means that the source is coming from it's coming less from animals and livestock in particular, or all animals. We're talking about including the ones in the wild. So yeah, and we've pretty much hammered them quite. Their numbers have declined. So, we could put a few more domestics and bring the numbers back to pre-industrial levels. So we could put quite a few million head around the world of different animals and still probably not get to the carbon levels that animals were producing back then, especially at the time right in the middle of the ice ages, when the big mega beasts were around, and we had a lot of animals compared to today. When we calculate the numbers of wild animals, the whole reason why we were forced into agriculture, grain agriculture, and the rest was because we were very successful hunters. Yes. Look, you do get some imbalances that do take place. It's a bit like, see, estrogen, once you go into menopause, estradiol will decline. But estrone will actually, which is a lesser, will increase slightly, and at the same time, testosterone in women will increase. The reverse sort of happens in men, and that's why women get the old moustache, ladies. Yes. So when we're talking about boron and stuff like that, it's sort of regulating in the opposite way that it would do it to a man, if you sort of get my. And prolactin also is one of those factors which gets out of whack both in men and women and causes issues. Women need a bit more fat as well, which I've said on countless occasions, especially when they're going through that transition period in menopause, because their hormones are all over the place. So, those are things that you need to keep in mind, ladies. And that's the other, and also the other BS, which they talk about estrogen in milk. I even heard Dr. Bergs just recently talk about, I'm going, what the fuck? You can have a whole liter of, a couple of liters of milk, and there's 6 nanograms. Men produce 53,000 nanograms every day, and women 630,000. What the fuck is he on about? Again, all this myth making, he's got some good information, don't get me wrong, but, when I heard that, I go, what the fuck are you talking about, Eric? It's just, that's the problem. This pseudoscience has been circulating for so long. Fuck me, these Maasai that are consuming 4.5 liters of milk per day on average. Fucking, those guys shouldn't be ripped and lean like they look. They should be fucking full of. They should have big fucking tits and and big fucking asses and look absolutely and long hair and look like trannies, but they don't. Yes, it's just God Almighty, please, please. Yes, unfortunately, some of the nonsense that's out there is beyond a joke. Yes. Hydrocarbon molecules are H and C carbons, and from basic. Yes, it's the 12 and like methane, when it actually lasts about 10 odd years, and when it basically is destroyed and breaks down, it basically gets converted into these carbon dioxide or carbon sort of molecules. So there is the 12 and the 13. Okay. So the one comes from the animal world, the type of methane, and the other one comes from shale oil and gas and stuff like that. And that one's been going up while the other one's been going down. And if you take a look at that methane study that I looked at and I pinned, it's also because that was actually done last year, and it's only recently that after I did a bit of editing on it, that Bart I sent it back to Bart, and he actually released it, so it's recent. But that was done further back last winter, and what happened is when he did that last winter, he because there was some issues, it didn't get, and he didn't have time to edit it, and I edited and I put it, but I forgot, because I did mention that I would actually pinning the study, but I thought it was going to be released immediately, and I forgot all about it. And then it just came to me a couple of days ago, and I go, oh shit, and I basically pinned it. So the study is there. If you go to that methane one, you will find the study pinned, and you can go directly and download the study. So geophysics sort of website, and get the actual proper study on geophysics. So we are affiliated because we're in spatial science, and it's, geophysics, spatial science are all part of the engineering sort of faculty in a sense, or that part of that science applied in regards science applied. So yes, so I was able to access that last year when it came out a couple of days after. That's why I did the video back then, but it got released very this year for a whole lot of reasons. I'm sticking to fish and seafood. Sadly, cooked meat aggravates me. Fair enough. Just have it raw or semi-raw. There are different ways you can actually do it. Whatever works for you. It's taste buds. As long as you're getting some good nutrients in. I'm not sure about that, what that was in regards. Something about oxidative, but I'm not sure what in regards to. So I can't answer it. So a lot of things that cause oxidation. Just breathing causes oxidation. Every single food that we consume will cause oxidation of some level. Sugar will cause more. That's the only difference. Become mildly addicted to sunbathing. Nothing wrong with sunbathing. Just get enough fat-soluble vitamins to maintain good skin health with the collagen-degrading enzymes being properly regulated. It's like everything, the collagen inside your lungs needs to be properly regulated with sufficient vitamin D. And that is why when we get respiratory infections in winter, we get more lung damage and more lung issues, because we don't have enough vitamin D. So we need more vitamin D. And if you're fatter, you need more, because you will put a lot of that into your fat tissue, unfortunately. It's only been about, what is it now? I still need a couple of months before I get to, it's been about a bit over 1.5 years, so before that I was low carb. Before that I was keto, low carb, paleo, low carb, Mediterranean, high fat, low carb, all these things, sort of Mediterranean low carb. Low carb was initially about a decade ago, and then I sort of moved to paleo for a period of time, and then I dumped paleo because I didn't want to give up on dairy, pretty much, and I don't have a lactose intolerance or anything like that. I've got lactose persistent genes, so I'd never had a problem with lactose. So I basically gave paleo the boot, so to speak, and then moved to a sort of a low carb diet for a while, then did a ketogenic diet, and actually I did for about 2 months, I did a really, low protein ketogenic diet, and my hair thinned out, and I went, oh, this isn't a good idea. And then I realized that we shouldn't be doing therapeutic versions when we're healthy and we don't have reasons to. So I put back the meat and my hair got sorted again and was much better for it. So yes, wasn't getting enough nutrients. You can't build stuff without enough nutrients. Simple as that. It's like those vegans that become too catabolic, like a nutrients, they just break down on the standard diet, their standard diet of anorexia vegana. Yes. So, you can induce some of those characteristics even on a therapeutic type keto diet. So not advised, let alone I felt cold as fuck. I felt cold that period. For those 2 months, I was shivering. I probably from that experience, I understand vegans when they feel cold and they're always wrapped up. And I'm a person that has hypothermia genes, and I actually warm up. If I move, I warm up very easily. I sweat very easily. I've never had I'm even in winter, I go around in shorts, and even in Tasmania. So it's never been an issue. And I really felt the cold for the first time in my life. So I can tell you, when you cut back nutrition, particular, and you really go low protein, yes, it's nothing like protein to warm you up. So get more of it into you. Nowadays, I probably consume about 3 times what I used to consume in the past. So yes. What do you think of maximum human lifespan? Don't know. Look, I honestly believe that humans, if we could find ways of actually, you're born with a certain amount of genetics that actually allow you to detox, repair, you've got a certain capacity. Then there's the other part. So that other part is basically has to do with your capacity to sort of maintain the mitochondrial integrity, and that's both due to genes, but also to what you're eating. More deuterium will bust more of those nanomotors. So when you're born, you will have basically far more of those the electron chain components in, so that when you see those folds in the mitochondria, along those are these little pockets of these nanomotors or these complexes. Okay, so as you bust them, you get less capacity to generate energy, and as you undermine the general health of that. And the problem is that when you, in older age, when you're replicating mitochondria or replicating a cell, if you've basically damaged its integrity to some extent, you will replicate shit, unfortunately. So that's why I say it's really important for, to do fasting, for apoptosis, to clear out some of that stuff. So you're left with more healthier. So when you actually biogenesis new mitochondria through fasting, through appropriately eating, calorie restriction, but not overdoing it, that can be negative as well. And other things that I will be discussing in a future video this month. And I may even do it tomorrow. I've sort of allocated Friday to do it, but it may be Saturday. We'll see. So when that comes out, and it's really important to basically realize all these different elements that are at play. The other thing is we can actually use metabolic water, deuterium depleted water, to clear out some of the actual damaging accumulation of too many neutrons in the matrix of the mitochondria. So there's a number of things we can do to basically try and actually improve, and I will be getting into those in the following months. I'll be doing, a bit more detail and also showing some of the sort of herbal type things and certain things that it can actually do two things. One, they can upregulate the sort of the biogenesis of new mitochondria. Two, repair the mitochondria. And three, inhibit the thing that damages NAD+, which is an important part of that electron sort of transfer from the complexes to basically keep those pumps pumping, those hydrogen ions through to basically keep those nanomotors fed with more and more protons to create more and more ATP. So, that's the sort of stuff we'll be looking into, and how to inhibit, in a sort of a healthier way, and in a way where, I use niacin that does inhibit CD38, that enzyme that breaks down NAD+, and as we age, NAD+ declines and CD38 increases, and eventually really just snuffs out your energy, and then it snuffs out you as well. So these are the sort of things that I'll be sort of teaching you guys and showing you some strategies how to get around it to extend life and stuff like that, and things that I'm biohacking myself currently. So, and I've just recently started doing some of that sort of stuff. I haven't used any of these nutraceuticals. I'm aware of them. I know they haven't been used on humans. Let me make it quite clear. It's all on rat studies and stuff like that, and how effective they are on humans, I don't know. I know that niacin is far more effective as a CD38 inhibitor, but as Gardenia in Bloom would know, she fucking doesn't like it. It does have its downside. Let's say, its nasty side. Its itchy side. Yes. As I said, nothing comes for free, unfortunately. Comes with a lot of itching, scratching. Yes. From Star Trek Insurrection to Warp Speed Drive. Take us, except away from here. I wish I could. Yes. Still working on that one. Yes. Need a bit more effort. Need a bit more effort to sort a lot of that out. Yes. Yes. Oops. Actually, in the past, the deuterium levels are much lower in water as well. So as carbon has increased, well, that gives more carbon to plants to grow, and we've seen massive growth of plants around the world, and you will get more growth of carbon life as a consequence. The downside is, as it gets into water and gets diluted in water, it actually increases the deuterium content of water. That's the downside. Yes. As I said, nothing comes without its yeah, you do get a high feeling. Yes, you do get a lot of energy. Yep. I've basically done like a morning flush after a meal, then gone to work and worked like an absolute fucking monster. So yeah, great energy. If you really want to, you got a project, you want to impress the boss, works. Harry's so efficient, so quick, he gets everything bloody done. Yep. That's why my performance management reviews are stellar. Yes. It's full of praises, which is nice for those reasons, because Harry has the energy of a young man. Well, most of the time when he's on his NAD plus boosters. Yes. So the rest of the time he's scratching himself. In regards to HC-based motor oil inside your skin and your body, ignore the eyes and if poofer are the problems, I wonder if careless mechanics are harmed with. Don't know. I suspect petrochemical products aren't a very good thing. And I know that in the mining industry, a lot of people are exposed to a number of these compounds, and there are a number of diseases that exist amongst that part of the workforce. The problem is the research is piss poor, and it's a lot of anecdotes and stuff like that. So we don't have good science to pin it down. But if you can do things to mitigate some of that sort of stuff, that's all we can do in that regard. It's a very hard one. It depends. Scar healing is really hard. I mean, I've got a little thing here. When I was a young kid, I actually fell on a tin can. I've got another thing up here again. That was a glass. There was, so I've had a number of things. No, sorry, that was a rock when I came off my bicycle. I've also got a glass one as well, so that I fell on. So I've had a number of little scar injuries myself. I have noticed that they've sort of receded with time. The problem is with skin is the way when it comes together, especially when they stitch it like doctors, they're not cosmetic surgeons. Let's put it that way. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to doctors, they're very on the practical side. Let's just stitch it together. Let's just stop bleeding. That's basically it. And so they don't really give a shit about scars. There are methods where you can use exfoliation, like quite a bit of exfoliation on certain tissue, and use topical like retinols and stuff like that, and try and actually improve the collagen in that area, in those sort of areas of scarring. But it's not a basically an ideal science or worked out really well and stuff like that. And especially if the actual skin has been sewn inappropriately, you really have to unstitch it in a sense, recut it and actually fuse it, join it together properly by a cosmetic specialist, So if that's the sort of case, and that's sort of the problem of some scar tissue which is not touched by a doctor at all. In most cases, it actually heals much better. I wonder why. Because the problem is what doctors do is they stitch things. And when they stitch things, they pull things slightly out of whack. Because they're more focused on stopping the bleeding. And that's the problem with that part. So, yeah, it's one of those unfortunate things. Anyway, guys, it's past 12 and I better bloody get to bed because I've got work tomorrow. Anyway, lovely having you here. Do like this impromptu live stream, and please give me a rating on, if anybody hasn't seen yet the logos and all the little videos that I rendered and stuff like that, check them out and give me a number of what you like and what you don't like and stuff like that, and a rating. And I'll look at it tomorrow and sort of decide which ones I, re-render and which ones I'll prioritize for some of my future videos. Anyway, take care, guys. Thanks. Good night. I better get to bed. And we will chat this coming weekend. Yes, yes. And it will include both the Euro Live and the general live one. So thanks, Bo. Appreciate it. Yes, I hope to enjoy my dreams. Good to see you all. Thanks for turning up, and a few of your comments. Sort of went a bit longer than I sort of was aiming to, but that's okay. I enjoyed it. Take care. Look after yourselves. Have a good day or a good sleep, like in my case. And we will chat soon. Yep. And out of here. See yous.